Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hakaraja Raven, and I'm back with my recap and review of Raised by Wolves season number 1, episode number 2. This is the new show currently available on HBO Max, and the first 3 episodes are available for you to stream. And HBO Max will be releasing 2 episodes every week, and this season is like 10 episodes total, so you don't have to wait long in order to binge watch the entire season. Anyway, coming back to episode number 2, it's titled Pentagram, and I enjoyed watching season episode number 1, even though, as I stated in my recap and review of the premiere, that the narrative did have certain plot conveniences. It did have certain tropey writing, but I still enjoyed it. Now, coming to episode number 2, I have a feeling that Raised by Wolves as a show overall is going to be that type of show that's quite enjoyable to watch. However, certain things are going to be very tropey, and this show is going to give us a whole lot of plot conveniences. I'm not against such type of writing as long as it's enjoyable, and I do have to say that even though certain things that happened in episode number 2 kind of made no sense to me, it was enjoyable, so I guess I'll forgive it. I'm not sure. Anyway, if episode number 2 opened with a flashback. We go back to Boston, and it's the year 2147. The atheists are fighting the people of the matriarchic cult who believe in Saul, and we have these two characters. And I immediately knew that the woman on the right is Sienna Gilroy. You, her cheekbones are so. Yeah, you can easily identify her because of her cheekbones. Anyway, so of course I was excited that Sienna is a part of this show, but then again, her role is quite small. It's basically a cameo, so I was a bit disappointed at that. Anyway, these two are atheists and they are running away. There are a whole lot of those necromancer androids flying around, and for those of you who don't know, Mother, who is taking care of the children, is basically a necromancer android, and she's basically a walking earth shattering death machine. So these two are running away. While they're on their way, they find this medic android, and they decide to take the medic android with them. And again, like I said, as I was talking about plot conveniences, it turns out that this medic android was doing studies on people who were selected to go on the Ark, and these two resistance fighters want to go on the Ark as well because apparently the Earth is going to be blown up. And yeah, lo behold, it turns out that Marcus, the guy we saw in the previous episode, is actually not the real Marcus, and it took me by surprise. It really did. I was like, oh, we are dealing with an imposter. So that would mean that the Marcus in the premiere episode is actually an atheist and he doesn't believe in Saul. So it turns out that Marcus and his wife are exactly the same as these two resistance fighters, which, duh, again, plot conveniences. And it also turned out that the medical android they saved is able to perform plastic surgery. So, yeah, these two resistance fighters are able to transform their faces into Marcus and his wife, which, I mean, it just worked out for them. And yeah, I don't think actual stuff happens like that, but then again, we are dealing with a fictional story. So while these two are waiting for their faces to heal, they are trying to learn as much as they can about the matriarchic or whatever, mitotic, whatever its name is. I can't like remember it right now. That fate, that religion, the ones who believe in Saul, and they're trying to make because they are going to use the faces in order to pass. So they take off their bandages, and yeah, these two are the new faces that we have. Again, I was disappointed that Sienna Gilroy's face is no more, but yeah, here we have Marcus and we have his wife. So these two decide to go to the real Marcus and his wife's home, and we get this picture. And yeah, I guess this picture is supposed to be some sort of religious thing for the people who believe in Saul, because I do recognize the sun at the top of the picture. So it turns out that Marcus and his wife are in the house, and of course, our resistant fighters shoot them. And again, it felt very weird because Marcus is supposed to be a captain in the army, and seeing him just be killed like that made no sense to me. Again, a whole lot of plot conveniences in the starting 10 minutes of this episode. And it also turns out that Marcus and his wife have a kid, Paul, which they'll end up meeting when they board the Ark. Then we have the scene where everyone is getting to board the Ark, and there are lines of people already there, and Marcus and his wife end up finding their fake child. And apparently it's kind of also, how should I put this? It's kind of fortunate that Marcus and the real Marcus and his wife weren't necessarily close to their kid Paul. So yeah, they can kind of not get caught. Like the child can kind of think that, okay, so these two are my parents. They are a bit weird, but they're still my parents and they're loving me. And they're giving me attention. So I guess I'll roll with it. So everyone's on the arc, and yeah, that happens. Then we come to the present timeline, and it turns out that Mother is switching out her eyes, and she's using the eyes of the android she just killed. Because, I mean, it kind of makes sense because she doesn't want the current eyes or the original eyes she has to scare the children that she rescued or kind of kidnapped. Who knows? And it also turns out that she ends up using the android's processor. She uses it to reactivate Father, and I was actually very happy because I want to see more of Abu Bakr. So Father is reactivated, and he's like, "What happened? What happened to your eyes?" And Mom is like, "Yeah, I had to change my eyes in order to protect the children." And the father is like, "Children?" She's like, "Yeah, we have five more kids." And okay. So the fake Marcus, we see that he ends up walking towards the giant hole, and because the temperature of the hole is higher, like heat is coming out, he decides to bind the rope around his waist, and he ends up sleeping there. And the rope is there in case he ends up falling into the hole while he's asleep. So Mother and Father end up burying the bodies of the two people that Mother killed, and this is where she explains to Father how these believers of Saul wanted to kill her in front of Chaplain. What's the boy's name? Campion. So she's like, the believers of Saul wanted to kill me in front of Campion. They wanted to take him toward the Ark. I couldn't have allowed that to happen, so I had to kill those humans. And she also tells Father that she was never out of control. Everything she did, it was according to plan. And Father is like, okay, if you say so. He ends up going to meet Campion, and of course Campion is happy that Father is alive. The rest of the kids are just sitting there silently, and Campion tells Father that they need to handle Mother because Mother ended up killing all of the humans on the Ark, and she needs to be stopped before she ends up going crazy again. But before Father can do something, Mother comes in, and Mother is like, okay, children, let's get up. This is our new house, and this is where you'll be living in. And I was actually surprised that she ended up bringing a kind of older kid with her on the left. If I was Mother, I would have selected younger children because they would have been easier to handle, but okay. So it's time for lunch, and everyone sits down to eat lunch. And Mother is like, before you guys start eating, I would like you to give me all of the pendants because this is an atheistic community, and you don't have to believe in all of those previous religious beliefs anymore. And everyone gives them the pendant, and of course the older kid, his name is Hunter, he is going to start trouble. Mother goes to her dome, and she starts remembering all of the kids that left her, which again, I mean, even though she's an android, does she have feelings? I'm not really sure. So she's remembering the children. Father comes in, and Father is like, I also sometimes replay the memories of the children in order to keep remembering them. And Mother is like, you know what, it's time for us to make new memories. And Father asks Mother about her eyes and if she'll be using them again. And Mom is like, no, I won't be using them again. Apparently she hid them inside the dome, and she gives them to Father, and she's like, I'm being truthful to you because I want you to trust me, and I also want you to respect the things that I have, which basically means that she wants him to respect her eyes and not do anything to them. And Father is like, okay, Mother, I respect you. So he goes out to have a talk with Campion, and as you can see back in the image, Mother is walking alone, but she's keeping an eye on Campion, and Campion is like, so, did you destroy the eyes? Did you drop them in the pit? And Father is like, no, Campion. I can't allow anything to happen to the eyes because if danger comes, mother is going to be the only one capable to defend the family. So she needs the eyes. We'll keep them safe, we'll keep them away, but we can't destroy them. Of course, Campion isn't happy. So father is like, why don't you go in and try to make friends? Campion goes in. The rest of the kids are kind of praying, and Hunter, the older kid, he's like, what happened to the rest of your siblings? And Campion is like, they're dead. And this is also where the older kid is like, you know what? Apparently, your mom ended up killing them. But before that happens, we see that Paul has a little mouse, and Campion is very happy to see a mouse. It's the first time he's seeing an actual mouse in his life. And Hunter is like, Campion, why don't you take the mouse? And of course, Paul doesn't like it. Campion decides to take the mouse. And again, this is where Hunter tells Campion that your mom is a necromancer android, and that means that she's been designed to kill. And how I wouldn't be surprised if it was her who had killed his entire siblings. Then we have a new scene, and Mother goes to talk to Campion, and Campion is like, Mom, don't try and show fake emotion in front of me. I know that you're not real. I know that you're an android. I know that all of the feelings that you show, it's all an act. And he's basically not happy with what his mother did. And I kind of understand that, but I'm also like, Campion, I don't want you to turn into this annoying child. And Mother tells Campion to give the mouse back to Paul. And then it's time for everyone to learn how to cultivate crops or the tubers that they're eating. And Hunter is like, wait, I have an IQ of 205. I can't waste my intelligence on the farm. I need to do something. And father is like, oh, you have an IQ of 205, so you're basically the most intelligent in the group. Why don't you come here? And he starts telling Hunter these jokes, which are basically supposed to stimulate people who are intelligent. And Hunter's like, you know what? I'm better off planting plants. So he goes away to work with the kids. Mother is giving a lessons to the children about how they should remember the time when they were all simple beings and how they came to the surface attracted by the sun's heat. And then she notices that Tempest, the girl in the picture, she isn't feeling well, and I'm like, oh no, don't say that Tempest is pregnant. And yeah, turns out that Tempest is pregnant, and it turns out that while all of the kids were in a hibernation for 13 years, and they were all in this simulated world, the second highest person rank wise in their church of the people who believed in soul, he ended up forcing himself on various women, and Tempest ended up being one of those women, and she ended up getting pregnant, and Tempest doesn't want to give birth to the person who forced himself on her. And she was also looking forward to him being put on trial and executed, because I'm actually glad that that person who did that ended up being executed, and he would have been executed if Mother hadn't crashed the ark. And Tempest is like, I don't want to keep this child. And Mother is like, you know what? The child is innocent. I'll help you through it. And yeah, it felt very cliche. I would have liked if this entire narrative was handled differently, but it is what it is. So father is walking around and he's trying to come up with jokes, and he notices something running around, and in the background we see this skeletal type alien. And yeah, it's danger now. They're all in danger after 12 or 13 years staying in this planet. Mother notices that an alien running around as well, so she goes to find her eyes, but the eyes are missing. She goes to father and she is like, father, did you take my eyes? And father is like, no, I didn't. It's Campion must have taken them. Let me handle this. So he's like, Campion, give mother the eyes. The community is in danger. And Campion is like, no, I don't want to give the eyes. And I'm like, Campion, stop being an annoying little child. I won't like you if you end up being an annoying little child. Father ends up being a bit strict with Campion, and the eyes fall on the ground, and Mother, of course, decides to use them. So Tempest, while she's in the dome, she notices the alien on the ceiling, and she runs off. And I don't know about you guys, but the alien does feel very humanoid. Like, the skeleton feels very human-like, as if you have a human crouched on all fours and the tailbone has grown. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some human connection to it. So Tempest is running. Mother comes in her very cool looking necromancer form, and she ends up killing two of the alien creatures that are after Tempest. And yeah, Tempest is safe, and Mother also thanks Father for trusting her and not destroying the eyes. And Father is like, yeah, Mother, I have to do it, especially because you're the only one who can protect us. So we are back to fake Marcus, and while fake Marcus is sleeping, these two skeletal looking aliens come near him, and instead of killing him, they basically throw him into the giant hole. However, because he had a rope around his waist, he doesn't fall all the way down. However, he does bump his head on the side of a rock, and he's unconscious now. It's the next morning, and the people who came to this planet with fake Marcus, they end up rescuing his body, and this is where the episode ends. Again, it was an enjoyable episode. I am liking all of the production value. I am liking that they had a budget to play around with. But then again, like I said, the beginning of the episode had a whole lot of plot conveniences, and I didn't like that. And there was also a bit of tropey writing, and I don't like Campion being an annoying kid, and I also don't like Hunter being trying to be smart, and I'm like, Hunter, you're just going to get everyone in trouble. So let me know what you guys thought of the episode down in the comment section below. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.